All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this village board meeting to order on Wednesday, July 21st, 2021, and ask you if you would all please rise and join the village board in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the deputy clerk please call the roll?
Trustee LaBedz?
She called you.
You want to turn your microphone
Oh,
on there? Speak into it if you would.
I don't know if it's working, so.
Kathy, do you know? Can you help her?
The green light would be on if it's.
I'm sorry, I don't know either. I haven't.
That's one thing I didn't learn, I'm sorry.
Help is on the way.
Okay. Okay. Trustee LaBedz?
Here.
Trustee Scaletta?
Here.
Trustee Bertucci?
Here.
Trustee Grasse?
Here.
Trustee Tinaglia? Trustee Canty?
Here.
Trustee Baldino? Trustee Schwingbeck?
Here.
President Hayes?
Here. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and we do have 4 sets to approve tonight. The first is from the Committee of the Whole meeting from June 14, 2021. Are there any changes or passes?
Pass.
Passed by Trustee Scaletta. Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval of the Committee of the Whole minutes for June 14th, 2021.
Second.
Motion by Trustee LaBedz, seconded by Trustee Schwingbeck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Next are the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from June 21st, 2021. Any changes or passes? Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the Committee of the Whole minutes for the meeting dated June 21st, 2021.
Second?
Motion by Trustee Canty, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Any further questions? Trustee Grasse, did you have a question?
No, I seconded it.
Oh.
Did you?
Yeah, I got Trustee LaBedz as a seconder. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And next, the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from July 6, 2021. Any changes or passes?
Pass.
Pass for Trustee Schwingbeck. How about a motion?
I would move approval of the Committee of the Whole minutes dated July 6, 2021.
Second?
Motion by Trustee Scaletta, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And lastly, the Village Board meeting minutes from July 6, 2021. Any changes or passes?
Yes,
Yes.
there is a change.
There's a pass from Trustee Schwingbeck and Trustee Grasse.
Yes, I need to correct the amendment that I offered. There was a word in there that was incorrect. It should read, other special flags recognized and flown by the United States or the state of Illinois through statute or proclamation as requested by a sitting board member and voted upon by the village board. There was an extra word in the minutes.
Okay, got that, Kim?
Yes.
All right, is there a motion to approve the minutes as corrected? By Trustee Grasse.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Canty. Any further questions or comments from the board or the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, move on then to the approval of the accounts payable. And I call on Trustee Bertucci.
I'll move approval for the warrant register dated July 15th, 2021, in the amount of $2,653,990.22.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Bertucci, seconded by Trustee Scaletta. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes,
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
And President Hayes?
Yes. There are no recognitions or presentations this evening, so we'll move on to public hearings. And we do have a public hearing to conduct on the 2021 Annual Action Plan, including the CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant Budget. So I'd entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved. Under.
That's okay. By Trustee Bertucci.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee LaBedz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the public hearing is open. And so, Ms. Nicolle, do you have any comments, or Mr. Perkins, or who wants to start?
Sure. The purpose of this public hearing.
Diana, you're going to have to speak into that mic.
Yeah, are you catching it?
There you go.
There. Okay, very good. Thank you. So the purpose of this public hearing is to receive final comments on the proposed 2021 Community Development Block Grant budget for the program year October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. And then I'll turn it over to Mr. Perkins if he has additional comments.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. We did advertise the 30-day public comment period. Also posted it on the village's social media pages and our website. We did receive 4 emails from 1 resident and 2 CDBG applicants who've requested funding with some comments. Those are identified on page 40 of the annual action plan. I'll just go through those comments that we have received very quickly. One comment was that CDBG funds should not go to groups that collect taxes, as funding should instead go to the non-profits, so agencies such as the Park District, the Village, and the School District. The Village's response is that CDBG eligible activities, all of them can be considered by the board. For example, in the CDBG COVID funds that the board approved last year, significant amount of money went to the village's health department to provide assistance in rent subsidies and utility subsidies to keep low and moderate income families in their homes. There was a comment that the material was too lengthy. It is pretty lengthy, but our response is we have to follow the CDBG HUD guidelines, and we did include copies of all of the grant applications for full transparency. There was a comment asking about the information on the infrastructure that's recommended for funding. That is a street renovation project that's been done the last couple of years in eligible census blocks that have low and moderate income households that meet the HUD criteria. Full Circle Communities, they were an applicant that was not recommended by staff for funding. They requested feedback on their application, which we did provide to them, and the fact that their project is very conceptual in nature. They don't have the project and the site under contract, nor have they gone through the required zoning process yet. And then finally, Journey's the Road Home felt that the level of funding should be greater for their agency and for homeless services. And also for their new building project. It was pointed out to them that during the COVID funds, we did recommend, and they will receive $120,000, which is 31% of that COVID budget. We're also recommending $28,000, again, be rebudgeted for the capital project, and $5,000 for their public service award. Both Nora Boyer and I are here to answer any questions, but this is really for any additional public comment. And then later on in the agenda is the board's consideration of approval of this plan and the proposed budget.
All right, thank you, Mr. Perkins. All right, is there any members of the audience who wish to address the board under the public hearing portion of the agenda tonight regarding the 2021 Annual Action Plan, including the CDBG budget? Any questions or comments from the audience? All right, seeing none, we'll come back to the board for any questions or comments, but we do, as Mr. Perkins just indicated, have this as an agenda item under the report of the village manager for further village board discussion and a motion to adopt, hopefully. So any other questions or comments at this point? Seeing nothing, so then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing. By Trustee Scaletta.
I would move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to close the public hearing by Trustee Scaletta, seconded by Trustee Bertucci. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Right, the public hearing is now closed. So we will then move on to citizens to be heard. Are there any members of the audience who wish to address the board on an item not on the agenda? One. And that's from Richard Skinner regarding loud racing cars. And so, Mr. Skinner, I'm not sure if you've been with us before, but we do have a 3-minute time limit for individuals to address the board under
No
citizens
problem.
to be
I'm
heard.
sorry.
So-
No problem. I'm not sure this is the right venue or forum for me to bring this up, but my frustration with the police department has, it's forced me to reach this point. And I'll just give you a real brief explanation of what's going on. My issue is the loud speeding cars on Palatine Road and Windsor Road. There's a statute in Illinois that says every motor vehicle must have an adequate muffler or exhaust system to prevent any excessive or unusual noise. I spoke with the sergeant in our police department 3 different times since July 1st. And I got the clear impression there was nothing he could do about it. He suggested I get a license plate number. So I asked, how could I do that? I said, should I stand on the corner with a camera? I said, isn't that your job? And I was clearly getting the runaround. Like he didn't want to talk about it. It was, But we live near Palatine Road and Rand Road. Just as an example, one night I was sitting on my front porch between 9 and 9:30 and counted 9 loud racing cars at 9 loud racing cars, and at 10:30 I went out there again and counted another 5 cars. We can't even close our bedroom windows. We are about a block away from Palatine Road. We can't close our bedroom windows at night because of the noise. And last Friday, about 10 o'clock, my wife and I were on Palatine Road in Arlington Heights. 2 cars next to each other were revving their engines and then took off drag racing each other. You could tell they were racing each other. There were 2 younger drivers, and it's like, what the hell are they doing? But there's nothing around. So my question is, what can we do to address these loud racing cars? And most importantly, what can be done to ensure the safety of our residents? It's out of hand. It really is. And I'm frustrated with the police department. It's like, no, this is wrong, and this is your job. But they don't want to deal with it. So what do I do? I'm very frustrated.
Understand. Mr. Skinner, let me just ask for clarification.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with the intersection of Palatine Road and Windsor and the frontage roads and everything there. Are you specifically referring to cars that are on Palatine Road going east and west, or is it on Windsor or the frontage roads?
Both. The other one night, it was last week, I heard this car going back and forth, and I looked in it, and I listened more carefully, because we're across the street from Lake Arlington. And I listened more carefully. I said, this isn't Palatine Road. So I went outside, I took my bike, and I went down to Windsor Road. And I sat there for about 5 minutes, and all of a sudden the car comes by, and it looks like a race car. It really does, the way it's outfitted, the way it's designed. And I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. And he took off, and it was like he was in a race.
Right.
This is insane for a suburb. We've been in Arlington Heights for 36 years. Never had an issue.
Yeah,
But
Mr.
this
Skinner,
is an issue.
we understand your frustration, and it's something that is an issue in other areas of the village, and so there are certain things that we can do. You've brought it to the attention now of us and our assistant village manager, who I know is going to follow up with the police department on this. I can just tell you there are some jurisdiction issues. It's much more difficult to enforce vehicles traveling on Palatine Road than it is on a road that we control within our boundaries, like Windsor,
Yeah.
or perhaps the frontage road. So it's on our radar screen. We're going to look into it and see what we can do. But it's not just that intersection. There's other areas in the village that have the same problem. One of the problems we have is that we only have about 105 sworn police officers. They've got a lot of different duty. They're not all on at the same time. And it's very difficult to post a squad car at every intersection where this might occur. So we've heard you. We're going to see what we can do about it. Ms.
Okay.
Nicolle?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Skinner, for coming forward today. I could tell that you're frustrated. So, yes, and so thank you for coming today. So I'll give you my business card. If you want to give me a call tomorrow, we'll kick off the conversation, get a couple more details, and we'll keep the conversation going so we can get a remedy here.
Like I said, we've been in Arlington Heights for 36 years. Love it. Absolutely love it. But now we're saying, what's going on here? Is it, like, I'm sorry, I'm just venting.
We heard you, Mr. Skinner.
Got my message.
We
I'm
got
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry.
Trustee Bertucci.
So Diana, do you know what the law is for those type of cars? And I'm thinking of it's those smaller cars, kind of reminds me of that Fast and Furious kind of movie or whatever. Anyways, because even downtown Arlington Heights, it echoes off the buildings because I live in one of those condos, and when young people kind of come down Sigwalt or Campbell or whatever in those cars, it's very loud. So do you know what the law is on that?
I do not know what that is offhand, but I will gather that information and then report back to the board so everybody has the same information.
I could tell you what it is.
You had read it off, yeah. So.
Okay, it is Illinois Law 625 ILCS 512-602. States every motor vehicle must have an adequate muffler or exhaust system to prevent any excessive or unusual noise.
Thanks, Mr. Skinner.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very much for listening, and I will call you tomorrow.
That's good. Thank you.
All right. All right. Any other members of the audience? Melissa, come up forward if you would.
Melissa Kerr. Please invite the Metropolis Theater, the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, and the Arlington Heights Park District to use the village's Novus Agenda system for their board meetings, agendas, and supporting documentation, so I may look at their information in a familiar format. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the audience on an item not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, we will close the citizens to be heard portion of the agenda and move on to old business. And we do have a couple of items to consider from our committee of the whole meeting from earlier this evening. And I'd first call on Trustee Bertucci.
I will move, as I did earlier, to recommend that the Village Board of Trustees recommend to the Liquor Commissioner the issuance of a Class B and Class T liquor license to Ma Jagat Ambi Incorporated, DBA D&D Smoke and Spirits, located at 1405 East Palatine Road, upon confirmation of their floor plan.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Bertucci, seconded by Trustee Canty. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, congratulations. We wish you much success with your new business here in Arlington Heights. And there's no need for you to stay. You're done. So thank you. Unless you want to, it's totally up to you. All right, we have one other motion to report out, and that was by Trustee Scaletta.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move now, as I did earlier this evening, to concur in the mayor's appointment of Susan Scrudlin for appointment to the Environmental Commission with the term ending April 30th, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Scaletta, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, Susan, if you come up to the podium there, and we'll make it official. I can find your oath. If you just raise your right hand and repeat after me, I, and state your full name.
I, Susan Scrudlin,
Having been appointed to the Office of Environmental Commission
appointed to the Office of Environmental Commission
in the Village of Arlington Heights,
in the Village of Arlington Heights,
in the County of Cook,
in the County of Cook,
do solemnly swear and affirm
solidly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I shall support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office according to the best of my ability.
of the office according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, Susan. We know you will. Come forward if you would. I just need you to take this oath and sign it with our deputy clerk. And I also would like to present you with this village logo pin to wear as a proud representative of this community and this village board. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
If there is no other old business, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. Are there any members of the board who wish to remove an item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, any members of the audience wish to remove an item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, any members of the board wish to vote no or pass on any item on the consent agenda? If not, I entertain a motion. Trustee Scaletta.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move now to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Motion by Trustee Scaletta, seconded by Trustee Canty. If no further questions or comments from the board or the audience, roll call.
Trustee Scaletta?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. Move on then to new business, and we do have a number of new business items to consider tonight. The first is the Arlington Beer Company request for land use variations for a business to be located at 19 North Hickory Avenue. And where's the petitioner? Petitioner present, if you come forward.
President Hayes.
Trustee Canty.
Before we get started, can I move that we take items A and C in sequential order since they deal with the same petitioner?
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's go ahead and entertain that motion. Motion to take items A and C, right?
Yes, A
New
and C,
business
yes.
together. And so motion by Trustee Canty. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Schwingbeck. Any questions or comments from the board or the audience? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Good idea. Thank you.
Thank
Ms. Egan, if you would introduce yourself, please.
Sure. I'm Kathleen Egan. Do you need my address?
We don't need your address. Just
Okay.
tell us your affiliation with the business and then
Owner and
what you're looking
president
to do.
of
here.
Arlington Beer Company.
And the floor is yours, so please.
Great. I have a PowerPoint that I'm happy to go through. So
So there's a controller right on the dais there, on the right-hand
This
side.
one?
Yep, you can just hit the right button to advance.
okay, so this starts with a rendering of what the property will look like at 19 North Hickory once it's redesigned as Arlington Beer Company. Did I do that? Wrong way? Oh, there we go. Okay, so who are we? So we have a head brewer, Michael Valente, who's currently the head brewer of Itasca Brewing Company that we have opened for the last 7 years in Itasca, Illinois. He has an international degree in brewing technology from Siebel Institute and furthered his education in brewing in Munich, Germany. Received his degree in 2011. An assistant brewer, he was at Heiselman Brewing in North Carolina with a bachelor's of public relations from Western Carolina. You can see this is his diploma as an international brewer. And then our second brewer is Zachary Phillips, head brewer, Itasca Brewing Company. He also started his career in North Carolina, both at Heiselman Brewery, and he also went to Western Carolina. So our mission, values, and beliefs, we're committed to promoting handcrafted beverages and responsible enjoyment of all craft beer. We'd like to foster social, environmental, and cultural change as a business philosophy, eco-friendly stewardship, honoring nature and recycling at every opportunity, and creating a product that enhances people's lives is something that we've been committed to in our other facility and plan to commit to in Arlington Heights as well. So we're small, independent, unique establishment, small enough in our system that we're able to create a variety of beers and types for seasonal and for all kinds of palates. We also craft soda, so we craft root beer, birch beer, some cream sodas, etc. Our establishment, as you'll see in renderings further on, is both indoor and outdoor, and we also are going to have the ability to purchase products through growlers and crawlers to go. So just a little brief history of what craft beer is. It's a generally small independent brewers brewing from traditional recipes and things of that nature. Michael studied in Germany, so he has a lot of German flair to what his recipes that he produces. So we have several regulatory bodies, just so the neighborhood knows: the State Health Department, the Illinois Capital Development Board, the State Illinois Liquor Control Commission, the ATF, Bureau of Tobacco, Alcohol, and Firearms, and the TTB, Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. So generally, the clientele that we've had personally and that we've seen in the industry are those that have a kind of a sophisticated palate. Craft beer is not cheap, not overly expensive, but not cheap. It's not a bucket of Miller Lite. It's more of a different size beers that you taste depending on the ABV and what you're interested in as far as your palate goes. So our goal is to offer a specific beverage for everyone, create a welcoming atmosphere for the entire family. This is just some history of the booming craft industry. I'm sure everyone has heard of craft beer in this room and that it is growing and continues to grow. Craft beer has grown by 13.6% each year since 2008. The industry revenue increases at a rate of 4.4%, or $7.6 billion over the past 5 years. Microbreweries currently estimate 2 million jobs that they're contributing to the U.S. economy across the country. So one of the things that we're committed to is preventing and deterring, obviously, underage drinking and overconsumption. We will have a fenced perimeter of our outdoor area, comply with all of the state and local liquor rules that we need to, education of our staff through DRAM insurance and things of that nature, where they have to keep up with licensure in order to serve alcohol. And we also have provision of non-alcoholic alternatives to adult beverages. So some things that we're known for in Itasca, just so you know, that we would hope to continue in the town of Arlington Heights, is community involvement. We host many events and charities and fundraising. We contribute to the Itasca Lions Club Days. We've done the Itasca Oktoberfest. We've done many things. We did the provided root beer for the school, the junior high plays and things of that nature. So we're very committed to being a part of the community and, you know, an asset to the community in every way. So the other thing is, too, we do promote local eateries, as we will not be having food on site, but in Itasca, we are actually at the entrance of the Fox and Turtle, so they can bring food or other food can be ordered in. So provisions that we take, so we're not only going to adhere to what's outlined in federal and state laws, but we're a good neighbor, and we're wanting to make sure that we're fitting into the community, that we're an asset to the community, not something that the community finds as an annoyance. So we have stringent age verification, as you can see. We're monitoring our clientele regarding consumption, and every effort is made that our customers and products are enjoyed safely and responsibly. So here you can see a bit of the rendering of what we're anticipating in the outdoor area. We do have the wrought iron gate that I referenced before. We'll have hardscapes and landscapes, and then kind of a cultivation of outdoors gathering space similar to the downtown area currently in Itasca. in Arlington Heights. Here's another picture of the front, just from another angle. The entrance to the outdoor area would be through the inside only, but the gate is there as a way for a second escape if needed, but that would not be the entrance to the outdoor area. So the outdoor seating is another opposite view. The front, there's two buildings on the premises. The front would be the tap house, and the rear would be the production, where the brewery is located, with glass doors so people could take a look inside. There's an outdoor fireplace that we're vetting, the paver block chairs, sofas, so they'll be kind of like a living space, living area space, picnic table space, bag space, so something to appeal to everybody in the outdoor area. Here's another view for you. TVs. So we have signage made. That is our logo here, ABC, and it's our IBC is our logo in Itasca. We actually just kind of put a hat on the A to kind of keep our consistency on our logo and who we are, brand recognition. We vetted this sign through the design commission already, so it'd be an illuminated sign that stands on a pole. So again, I did reference non-alcoholic beverages and just wanted to stress that too. As we are family-friendly environment, we do have a really delicious root beer. You can ask anybody in Itasca, it's very popular. And then again, other varieties of sodas we make, orange and things of that nature is desired by our customers. These also can be put in growlers and crawlers to take home. So as far as parking goes, there is public parking along Hickory Street and Douglas Street. We've also secured 26 spots in the parking lot located on the west side of North Douglas Avenue between East Kensington and East Minor Street through the Park District. This is walkable. As you park there, there's a pathway that leads almost directly to the front of us from Douglas to Hickory. We're also going to have bike racks. We feel we're a pretty walkable business for Arlington Heights for a lot of the community, hoping that people walk or ride their bikes would be encouraged. So controlling noise, we're very conscientious of our surrounding neighbors. We're actually located in the front of the Itasca Country Club and have been, really welcome there and had a great 7 years. The outdoor area will be in accordance with all noise rules for the village. And then we do have a rear situated privacy fence for our neighbors. So I think this is kind of just a little bit, one more time, on-site consumption is what we're looking for. We're also looking for the ability for people to come and go. That is a growler, if anyone's wondering. We actually have a crawling machine where you can get a can filled and sealed right there as you're ready to take it out. So we're also looking for distribution. We'll hopefully be having our beers in local restaurants in the Arlington Heights community. This is a picture of where we are currently. That's our mayor, Jeff Prine in Arlington Heights. This was Oktoberfest. Again, we're supporting as much as we can in the area to make sure that we're a good steward in the community. So we also have, younger brewers that are very green. They grow some things in their garden even. They're very much into what locally is available. We have some bee keepers in Itasca that give us honey. So we like to take from whatever's in the community that's appropriate. I know there's people that are growing hops here and things of that nature. So we like to incorporate whatever's seasonal and whatever's local as much as we can into our product. So there we go. Looking forward to hopefully making Arlington Heights our new home.
Well, thank you, Ms. Egan. Before I turn it over to the staff for their report, I just want to remind everyone, if you do want to address the board on this agenda item or on the tail chaser or any other agenda item that remains, please fill out a blue card with your name and the subject you want to talk about and just bring it up to our Deputy Clerk, Kim Peterson, over here while Mr. Perkins is talking. So thank you. Mr. Perkins.
Thank you very much. Just go through the kind of zoning actions that are being requested here, and then talk a little bit about a few of the issues. So the property at 19 North Hickory, it's zoned R7, which is a multifamily, high-density multifamily district. Many years ago, it used to be zoned M2 manufacturing, and as part of the village's redevelopment plan for that area, it was rezoned to residential. So they are requesting, Arlington Brewing Company are seeking a variation to allow a land use variation to allow the brewery, first of all, and also to increase the retail sales portion to 50% of the total floor area. When this came before the board at early review, they were requesting 42%. There are a number of variations that they're asking for. The first is to waive the requirement for a traffic and parking study by a qualified professional engineer. They're seeking a variation to the on-site parking. There's no on-site parking at this location, and the demand per code for the indoor and the outdoor spaces for the 200 occupancy would be 60 spaces. And then they're seeking a number of height variations for the perimeter fencing, to provide the screening to the north and the west and the fencing in the front, as well as an accessory structure for the chimney in the outdoor seating area. So there have been a number of actions to date. It has been going this project for quite a while. Started really back in 2012 when they were looking at a lease at 3 North Hickory just for a brewery. They approached the village. A prior staff member gave the petitioner wrong information and said it was allowed. Brewing of alcohol has not been allowed in the village until 2018. And then in 2013, the village adopted the Hickory Kensington redevelopment plan and then rezoned the properties that I just referenced. And then we believe around August of 2013, the petitioner then acquired the 19 North Hickory. And since then, the village has created a tax increment financing district in the area. So this area aerial shows, highlighted in red, the site in the neighborhood. The key issues are land use. Is this land use appropriate at this location? Would it have a negative impact or a positive impact on the area and the potential future redevelopment? Parking is always a concern and was discussed at early review, as well as the size of the tap room and the separation from the brewery area. And then potential neighborhood impact from the outdoor beer garden. So just to go over the zoning, highlighted in kind of a pinkish color here is the site. As I'd mentioned, it is in the R7 zoning district. To the north and east is R6, which is a lower density residential. The area M2 to the north is owned by the Park District, actually needs to be rezoned to PL, which is public lands, as does the B3 area along Northwest Highway, which is also owned by the Park District. So the comprehensive plan here shows the future land uses for the area once it's completely redeveloped, with the lime green being the Park District, the dark brown, the high density residential, and then the light brown being the moderate density residential areas. So the site has 2 buildings on it. You can see the site here in this aerial. The residential to the east, there's 17 additional homes being built currently as part of the Arlington Market development. And then there's also the Hickory row homes to the north and the Arlington Market row homes at this location. This vacant site has been approved for a 5-story mixed-use development. This image will show that. If I can get this working, there we go. So this kind of shows the potential for the 4 North Hickory. They're in for permit right now. Potential for either a row home development or a comparable apartment development on the vacant parking site. And then the introduction of Campbell Street. So there's existing right-of-way already east of Hickory. And then that would be extended with these 2 developments between Hickory and Douglas for improved circulation. And that will be done in conjunction with those 2 projects when they move forward with construction. So as I'd mentioned, the site has 2 buildings. The front would be the tap room, the rear would be the brewery as proposed. This is the site plan. We can always come back to that if there are questions. And then the floor plan, there is a floor plan in the materials that the board had that shows all of the seating in it as well. And then the second floor seating plan. I'll skip past the variations on the fencing as I've already mentioned those. So in 2018, the village did adopt zoning regulations as well as a liquor license for breweries, kind of 3 categories. There's breweries that are between 2,500 square feet and 4,000 square feet in size, would be allowed as a special use in the commercial districts of B2, B3, and B5. Those are the B2 and B3 districts are typically shopping centers that have ample parking. Therefore, the retail portion was allowed at 35% of the floor area. For breweries that were 2,500 square feet or less, they were permitted uses in those districts with the same retail portion. And then in the manufacturing districts, the code does allow larger breweries up to 20,000 square feet, but the retail portion was reduced significantly to not to exceed 10%, because typically in industrial areas there's limited parking. There's not enough parking typically for commercial type activities. And I'll jump past the liquor license requirements, but if there are questions, we can come back to that. So in early review, there are a number of questions that the board discussed. Was the intent to allow a brewery to be in a totally separate building? Was 42% of the floor area proposed for retail sales and the brewery acceptable? It was 42% at that time. They're requesting 50% now. Did the board consider the proposal more representative of a separate brewery and a separate bar, or acceptable as proposed? And then lastly, did the board believe that the location within the redevelopment area in close proximity to residential uses and with parking limitations was appropriate, as was proposed back in 2019? So looking through the minutes, the kind of key takeaways were that the board at that time felt parking was an issue. They felt solely depending upon on-street parking was not an acceptable solution. The petitioner has worked out an agreement for a 3-year lease, I believe. We have not seen the agreement with the Park District. The Plan Commission recommendation does not require that lease to be made, so they made some changes to the recommendation. There were some concerns about parking impacts, especially with all the uses in the area, with Frontier Days, the Park District, Knights of Columbus, the American Legion, and additional redevelopment. But generally, the board was enthusiastic about the concept. The board did ask about accommodations for the neighbors in regards to screening of the outdoor area and noise. And generally, the board was in favor of the concept, but had issues with parking and would prefer a reduced taproom space as a percentage of their proposal. So to look at the spaces, the 10%, the 35%, and the 42% that was looked at in earlier review versus what's currently proposed, this chart illustrates that. And on the far right is the estimated parking demand based upon the village code. And village code calculates 1 parking space for every 30% of occupancy. So with the proposal for the 50% indoor, that would generate about 30 spaces. That's 29 spaces plus 1 for the employee. They might have a couple more employees than that. And then the outdoor, another 30, so a total of 60 in comparison with the other percentages that were talked about. And these are just the calculations that we can come back to as well. So we have looked at on-street parking. There are 76 spaces on Hickory currently. That will diminish a little bit with the reintroduction of Campbell Street that I discussed going west-east through the property. There's about 147 spaces on Douglas and approximately 56 in the Park District parking lot. Keep in mind the Park District also in that lot, I believe, entered into an agreement with the library for the maker space. Not sure exactly how many spaces were allowed to park in that location as well. So there's limited parking data and parking counts. The petitioner did do 2 counts, 2 one-day counts at half-hour intervals in 2019 in January. Not sure what events were going on then. And then also in May of this year, and of course that was during the COVID pandemic when many places were closed. We did pull up the parking study that was done for the 4 North Hickory project. That was done in 2018. They looked at a Saturday and a Monday, not the peak times for Arlington Beer Company. Certainly the Monday is not. But that was not the peak time for their project. But anyway, the data that we have is from the petition on January 2019. There was an occupancy of 46 spaces, peak occupancy, and I think the times for that period were 2:30 to about 4:30. It was pretty close to the 44, 46 space number, so leaving about 27 spaces available on Hickory. We don't know whether there were any activities at any of the other traffic generators in that area. We do know that the 4 North Hickory development plans to have some commercial space, and about 8 spaces for the customer parking from that commercial space would need to be accommodated on street, And then, of course, the Arlington Beer Company demand, peak demand with full occupancy would be 60 spaces. So staff had recommended to the Plan Commission approval of the proposal, but with some occupancy restrictions. We had recommended restricting the occupancy to 87, and I'll explain that. Initially, the petitioner had indicated they felt their peak demand could be between 30 and 40. The 87, based upon our code, equates to the 26 spaces that they have secured with the Park District. So that kind of matches up. And then if that lease agreement went away, obviously it would be difficult for them to then make this investment and not continue to operate. So we felt reducing the occupancy to 50 unless they could secure another easement agreement for off-site parking. And that equates to about 15 spaces, which is the amount that might be available if those parking counts were accurate. The Plan Commission recommended approval but deleted these two conditions that were recommended by the Staff Development Committee. So I'll be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thanks, Charles. Can you go back to the slide you had on the conditions of this brewery liquor license? I think you skipped over that one.
Yes.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Yes. Just 1 second, I'll get there. The M liquor license?
Right, that's it. So the one I just wanted to emphasize was no more than a total of 48 ounces of beer or ale should be served for the purpose of on-site consumption to any customer in one day. All right, so Ms. Egan, that's the first question that I have for you is regarding that. How are you going to police that?
So that has been done in other villages and subsequently taken away. So it started in Naperville. What they do is they take a credit card from the customer. When they hit that 48 ounces, they're cut off. And there's no cash sales. So it's all done by your POS system takes it with their credit card. That credit card is attached to that person or that party. And once they hit that limit, they're done.
Okay.
So it's been done, like I said, but it's been since removed in every village. I think Elk Grove went from 48 to 60. I'm not sure if it's still in place, but so there are other places that we've talked to that there's a way to do it through that POS.
Right. In the other villages before they removed it, what problems did you experience with that?
Before they removed it?
Right.
So I just think that they were, it was brand new. This Solemn Oath was one of the first to put the tap room on their brewery. So Naperville put that in there just to see how things would go. And I believe Elk Grove is the same. Microphone is their first brewery and currently only brewery. So I don't think they had any issues, which is why they then allowed them to have more freedom with that. It is, consumption and occupancy limitations make it difficult to run the business, but 48 ounces is what you have in this liquor license, so we'll adhere to that. Then you can have no cash sales, generally. Everything is done and tracked through the credit card.
Right, okay. The other question that I had was regarding the use or invitation of food trucks or Uber Eats. So how are you going to manage that?
So the ordinance in Arlington Heights, the way I understand it, is a food truck is only allowed on the street for 1 hour, so we don't think that's going to be an option. It wouldn't be probably in a food truck's interest to come to our brewery. As far as Uber Eats goes, we do have to put in through the health department our blower, and then we're allowed to have food come in from other facilities. So just like everywhere, you sit in you order on your phone, they come and deliver it to where you are in the space.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Canty, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm very thankful to see you guys come before us. Thank you for sticking with us through all these years. I can tell that you're very persistent in trying to get here, and I very much appreciate persistence. As I said, I've been following this project for years. I know a lot of people have been following this project for years. The mayor asked some of the questions that I had, some of the concerns, and then I see that you've addressed some of the other ones with the Planning Commission and the Design Commission. And so it's a little bit early, but to try and keep us focused, because I'm very excited about this, I'm going to move to approve a land use variation to allow a brewery with a retail portion at 50% of the total floor area, where a retail portion is limited to 10% of the total floor area, pursuant to the recommendations of the Plan Commission.
And I'll second that emotion. that motion.
And a motion by trustee Canty, seconded by trustee Grasse. So, trustee Canty, just to clarify, you're concurring with the plan commission
concurring with the plan
recommendation.
commission,
Okay, just to make
yes.
sure. Okay. Okay, any other comments?
No, I just want to point out, we're not the first in the area to try and do this. I think we've seen some of the kinks get worked out. I know a lot of folks that are very excited about microphone and they like to go there, but they are anxiously awaiting having something similar to brag about here in Arlington Heights. And I think it's just another sign of us becoming a destination village in the northwest suburbs. So thank you for sticking with us.
All right, trustee Bertucci.
Thank you. Kathleen, I just have a question for clarification because I was hearing you talk about the lot and the lease with the Park District and Charles. Do you have a sign? Is this lease been signed?
I have it and the village has it, so I did send it.
So there is.
I know that,
Okay.
I don't know.
We can ask for
I take your word.
So, yes, I have it. I have not signed it. We agreed, the Park District and I, to sign it so they don't have to start charging me until I get approval and then we get going. So
Okay.
it's $5,000 plus $1,000 sponsorship. So it's $6,000 each year at a 3-year lease, which comes to $18,000. We did 3 years because I don't know if I'm going to use it. They don't know if I'm going to use it. It's not that they weren't willing to do a 10 or 20. I just didn't want to commit myself into something like that if it wasn't going to be something that I was really using, given the cost of it.
Okay. And is it for specific spaces or?
So we decided that we would just put signage up in the brewery and on our website, directing people there, and then also directing people if they came in and they were like, there's no parking, over to there. We weren't going to make specific spots for us, but when they have told me and when I've gone by, people don't park there because the baseball diamond's there.
Yeah.
And the balls could go into that area. But I have a whole insurance policy. We went through all this with the lawyers and things of that nature.
Okay. And then my other question, Charles, when you speak of the 4 North Hickory, is the residence, is that going to be self-contained parking? Is that all going to be, the building will hold the parking underground or whatever for?
There's some parking on the first level and surface parking, and it will be fully parked for the residential units, and then 3 spaces for the employees in the commercial would be on site. The customer parking, which is projected at about 8 spaces, would be on street.
Would carry over to the street also. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. And then can I get clarity from staff or somebody, or Tom from you? I just want to make sure I understand the difference between the staff recommendation and Trustee Canty. I think your recommendation is for the commissions.
The plan commission.
The plan commissions. Okay. So can I just make sure that, maybe others too, that we understand?
So this is kind of a strikeout on the Plan Commission recommendation. So they recommended 3, 4, 5, and 6, but deleted 1 and 2 that deals with kind of the requiring the lease and continued lease of parking spaces off-site and the capacities that we had worked out.
Well, what is the capacity under the otherwise for the, and I've gone through all the material, but rather than me digging through it, so what is the capacity without the staff recommendation?
The capacity that we've calculated based on parking, and we've taken kind of a practical approach on spaces in the building that where customers could be. Now the building code would have a higher calculation.
Mm-hmm.
So we calculated both inside and outside approximately 200.
Okay, so it's with this motion, then they could have as many as 200.
Correct.
Okay. And Kathleen, what do you think? What do you?
I mean,
what would your
I haven't heard the
expectations be?
fire. Is that you're taking in the fire code as well? I mean, when I look and from my experience, it doesn't seem like we could do 200 fire code. I mean, and I haven't been given that number yet or looked at that. I'll trust and believe what they say, but when I look at it, it doesn't look like it's going to be able to hold that many people.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of expectation of traffic from your other experiences?
And so we generally have people come out. Remember, it's 48 ounces. So I don't have a large benefit of people hanging out for a long time because they
fair
can
enough.
drink just a limited amount of beer. So
Sure.
we're probably going to be a stop based on the consumption.
Got it.
You know, in and out quickly with people, maybe taking things to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are 73 seats shown on the floor plans inside, and there are 67 seats shown on the outside. So that's just seating area.
Okay.
So that's 140, but the capacity is greater than that because at a bar area you have standing areas and things like that, and under the building code your capacity is one person per every 15 square feet of a standing area, and it's not as great as that if it's a sitting area.
Yeah, I see Kathleen going from your mouth to God's ears that she would have that kind of
I know,
capacity.
right?
So, all right, but thank you.
me, but-
Thank you both for the answers.
Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you. And thank you, Kathleen, for sticking with this, as others have said. Since I've been here for all the times you've been here too, have seen. I have a few questions. One has to do with the bike rack. I saw somewhere, and maybe it's really Mr. Perkins who could answer this, that maybe it's just that the size of is required for 2 bikes, but that doesn't sound like very many bikes. Do you know what you would anticipate for bike racks? Because I remember comments made from early review of people who said they would be interested in riding their bicycles should you open.
I mean, I'm guessing that we're going to at least have capacity for 6, if not 8, would be our goal. So it's drawn into one of the, I don't have the actual floor plats, but they did draw them in. So,
Okay,
yeah.
so I don't know.
We realize that we're hopefully bikeable, walkable.
Right, so I would certainly want to know, you'd want to have enough
Right.
places for people to.
My brewer's bike too, so I'll have to make sure I have space for them.
That's
They are on
important.
Dryden, yeah.
That's good. I was wondering, since this would, should you open, be very close to residential areas, including new ones, what about odors? Are odors emitted? I will admit I'm not a beer drinker, so I don't go to microbreweries, so I don't know firsthand what that might be like in terms of odors, but what is your experience?
So the odors aren't admitted. Now, when we're brewing, there are odors in the brewery. And keep in mind, our brewery is at the entrance of the Fox and Turtle for the Itasca Country Club, and we never had a complaint on odor ever from anyone. So our brewery is the back building where we
Right.
won't be having patrons, and on the days that they brew, if you walked in there, you would smell it, but you would not be noticing that they were brewing on the outside.
Okay, because that would be fairly close to
Correct.
the homes that are being built behind. I drove around yesterday and was really kind of looking at the area. Not that I
Yeah.
haven't seen it before, but it would certainly be a vast improvement for, than what it looks like at the moment.
We did have a neighborhood meeting and had multiple people show up, so.
Okay. I have a question for Ms. Nicolle. Just for the process, just as a process question, should this be approved tonight, then will Ms. Egan be back for a liquor license?
Correct.
Okay.
That would be the process.
That would be a separate meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Would you anticipate, because you had mentioned that you would think that people who were not biking or driving might utilize Uber or Lyft. Were you thinking of designating something for, well, I guess you really couldn't designate something for a drop-off zone because it's public.
No, just in the front of the building would be the drop-off, right?
It's hard for me to think about approving something that goes down to zero parking. We often have these discussions, but it's certainly an interesting project. And I'm also really interested in the cream soda. I love cream soda, and that's really hard to
We
find.
do a cream soda and an orange cream soda. It's delicious.
Okay. A dreamsicle.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Those are the questions I have. Thank you.
Trustee Scaletta.
Thank you, Mayor. Charles, can you go to the chart that you had with the different percentages of occupancy with the parking?
This one?
Yes. So, proposed tap room including, okay. So the bottom portion of this where it says proposed tap room size, including outdoor usage. You gave us a number of 73 and then 67. And this shows 96 and then 101. So I guess the difference between the 73 and the 96 is standing room?
Correct.
And then,
And they've got some game areas and things like that.
okay. And then the outdoor, you think that so when you say there's a number of seats of 67 and they're using picnic tables, how many people are sitting at a picnic table?
Yeah, I'd have to ask staff how they made assumptions on, typical seating on, what was shown on the plan.
And how many picnic tables do you have? 11?
No, I believe we had 11, but to look it up. They might, the way that I see the picnic table is 6. I don't know if they counted them as 8.
I don't know, the numbers don't 67's an odd number anyway, so I'm trying to figure out where we're at.
So this shows, square 4 tops and 2 tops. And you've got some 4 tops along here. Looks like picnic tables here. You've got lounge seating in this area. I don't know whether that's a bench, probably not under the TV, but then you've got another 4 top there. The plan on the indoor doesn't show the seating, but there is a plan in the packet with the seating.
Right. And so the reason I'm asking is that, so the renderings that you showed us earlier, Ms. Egan, with the picnic tables was just one view, not necessarily taken into consideration, because the rendering looks like it's pretty small and intimate, and this looks pretty large. And
It is pretty small and intimate, though, when you go there. When I look at it, so I guess, so there's 4 picnic tables, the 3 tables there, those are bag areas with tables to stand at each end of the bag area. Those people that are there will probably be playing the bags. And then there's more of a intimate seating area, like a living room kind of section around the fireplace and the TVs.
Okay. And Charles, this property specifically is in the TIF?
Yes, it's in the TIF and currently zoned R7, used to be zoned M2.
Okay. And what's the formula that you were using on the parking?
1 space for every 30% of occupancy.
So, okay. So it's not as simple as 2.3 people equal 1 car?
It's probably about 3.3 persons per vehicle, something like that. And then that's not seats, that's based on the capacity of the areas, including standing rooms. So that's based on the capacity shown on that other chart. In fact, this shows all the calculations for the areas.
Okay. And then, hate to ask this because it's probably nowhere near this slide. How many parking spaces are on Douglas?
On Douglas is about 147, and on Hickory is currently 76. They're not striped. The ones on Hickory are not striped, so that's just an estimate.
So 76 on Hickory.
Correct.
And obviously the Park District, still uses them, and so would the Legion.
Correct.
So could you do me a favor and just go back to the last slide? I think it's very close by, that shows the number of vehicles based on the different occupancies. There we go.
Okay.
So if they're proposing 73 and 67, and this says 96 and 101 with this amount of seats, and you're showing the parking demand being like 60 total, and they have 26 spaces on the other block, they have a deficit of, doing quick math, 34, which is about half of that block. Like, they would take, like, parking for half of Hickory.
Correct.
Wait, Hickory has 100, or for Hickory, Douglas has 187, correct?
Right, you're renting 26. I know
So,
more people
right,
could
from the
park
Park
there.
District, off of Hickory and Douglas, I would be renting 26 if I needed to rent 26. So there's 187, the 76. I have the engineering that was done for the other property, and then an additional 26 to be rented if needed in the parking lot at the Park District.
There's
Which would-
there's 147 on Douglas, and then there's approximately 76 on Hickory, and then about 56 in the lot.
56 in the Park District's lot.
Correct.
I get all that. I'm looking,
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what's gonna happen on Hickory. And then once you have more development over there, you know, there's curb cuts, ins and outs. You love to do your fantastic pedestrian bump outs. And so I'm starting to wonder, you know, that if we give the petitioner what they want tonight, you know, are we gonna be regretting it in years down the road? So, I'm coming on the fence in this. I mean, I was pretty clear in the past about my concerns with parking, and I'm still concerned, but I'll leave it at this. I'll leave it at that for now.
Trustee Grasse.
Yes, hello, Miss Egan. I really, I'm excited and I hope to see this project work. I'm familiar with your brewery in Itasca, so I'm really excited for the possibility to be here. I just wanted to make a few comments. I so appreciate the design, indoor and out, and what it will bring to the community. I especially appreciate the community commitment. I am familiar with your spot in Itasca with the country club and how that fits in so well there. I also really appreciate the green technology. And I really enjoyed and appreciated the whole focus on walkability and biking and use of Uber. And I guess I really wanted to ask you, are you concerned about the parking spots? And how do you plan to address parking for your customers? I wanted to hear more about how you feel about that.
Gotcha. So on our website, you know, breweries are destinations, as you know, and when people typically go to a brewery for the first time, they go on the website. Can I bring my dog? Can I bring my kids? Will there be food? What is the beer they're serving? We will address parking, requesting that Uber, suggesting that Uber, street parking only, Uber is your best bet. So you probably would like to Uber if you can. Bike or ride or walk, bike or walk. So I have a different number from when this was done by the Guido for the other project on the corner. And I have 160 on Douglas and then 78 on Hickory. But there's also Minor, which I don't know if we would be allowed to use, but there is parking on Minor. It's limited by hours, I think 4 hours. Again, we're limited by consumption, so that could fit well in with some of our customers. The other thing is I have traveled a lot and looked a lot before COVID, and we all know that COVID changed things and could continue to change things. My day job is Director of Care Management at Rush University Medical Center in Rush Oak Park. So we're not anticipating that we're gonna not have some problems in the future, especially this fall. That's why we're really interested in having an outdoor area, especially because with Itasca, we were very limited in what we could do. Having said that, when I went there, there was a soccer game, and I didn't know that I needed to be writing all this down, but I did do car count. I never have seen it where there hasn't been parking, at least 60 spots available at a time, 60 or 70, mostly on Douglas, especially. If the Knights have something going on in Hickory, absolutely there isn't a lot of spots. But again, you know, these are kind of people that are coming for a destination, so you spell it out. Here's how it is. When I went to Solemn Oath for the first time, I couldn't even find it. It was in this crazy car dealership off, you know, the road. People are going to try to find it, and as long as you're upfront with them, is what the barriers or what some of the angst might be when they get there regarding parking. They'll mitigate. You know, we'll help them mitigate that.
Are you concerned
Don't want
about the
angry
parking?
customers. I am not concerned about the parking based on the fact that for the last how many years I've been going back and forth looking and watching. I saw soccer games, I saw baseball games, I saw American Legion having a poker day, there was a baby shower at the Knights, and there was still parking, ample parking.
Anything else, Trustee Grasse? Okay. All right, Trustee Schwingbeck.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Kathleen, thank you. I was waiting to hear what my other trustees had to say here. I have not been to your Itasca brewery. In fact, I haven't been to one in the area here, but there are a lot of them over in Michigan, where we spend every weekend, and they're much bigger than what you're proposing. They're in small towns. They have no parking. It's all on street. We have taken Ubers. We have driven there. Never had a problem finding a place to park. Most people are going, if they live in the area, the 3 or 4 that we visit over there are in residential areas, so people walk. And as I said, we either drive or we Uber. Haven't had problems. You had talked earlier that people are going to come and go rather quickly. We may not be your best customer because just last weekend we sat there and had 3 beers and played cards for a couple of hours.
Right.
And we're talking about places like yours that have 15 or 20 picnic tables outside as well as inside. So I'm very excited about the plan. I think the front of the building and the sign looks great. I think it'll be a great addition to the neighborhood. I'm glad the motion was put on the floor, and I think it's a great project. Thank you.
Thanks, Trustee Schwingbeck. I'm going to go to the audience now. So, Ms. Egan, you can have a seat. And I'm just going to remind the individuals who would like to speak that there is a 3-minute time limit. You don't need to take all 3 minutes. But let me call Dan Philbin first, and then on deck will be Margaret Serio.
Hello, Mayor. Hello, trustees. I'm Dan Philbin. I live at 611 Haddo. They've been talking about this for years, and just want to let you know there's a lot of people in the neighborhood that are really looking forward to it. So it is nice. I think it's going to be a good addition. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, Dan. Next is Margaret Serio, and then Charles, I believe it's Person.
Hi, I'm Margaret Serio. I live at 221 South Princeton. I know this has been going on for 7 years. I know this brewery will make a great addition to the community. I have children that are 30-ish in the community, and they walk all over Arlington Heights and push their strollers all over Arlington Heights. You seem to forget this will be a booming business and help our town, and all you seem to be stuck on is how many parking spots there is. I think we need to look a little bit broader about that. Every business hopes that they will get to the maximum amount, but to stop a business for now 7 years because you're worried about it, let them worry about where they're going to park their cars. Thank you.
Well, Margaret, I appreciate your comments, but just in response, I mean, we have an obligation to make sure that people can park safely and that there is adequate parking. I mean, I understand, you know, Kathleen would certainly say that, you know, she doesn't think there'll be a problem. But we're the ones who are going to be criticized when a problem arises. And so whether it's in this location or in downtown Arlington Heights, it's our responsibility to ensure that there's enough parking. So I appreciate what you're saying, but it's our job to do it. And so that's why we're doing it. That's why we're asking the questions. Charles? And then next would be Kathleen Gabriel. Charles, I may have messed up your last name.
It's
so just,
Perrone.
what is it?
Perrone.
Perrone.
Yes.
Okay.
French. Okay. First of all, I think it's a great idea. This community needs this. As far as the parking goes, what I saw was missing in the study, you're looking at it from an extreme standpoint. You're looking at what would you need if everybody parked a car. Everybody doesn't park a car. People go downtown now, whether they go to Carlos and Carlos, whether they go to any of the restaurants down there. I would guess easily there's probably 40% of the people either coming out of the apartment buildings or like me, I live like 10-minute walk. We walk there, unless it's raining, of course. I think responsible people, especially young people, like I have 4 daughters, ages from 36 to 46 with lots of grandchildren. And in those particular cases, if they're going to drink, whether it be mild or whatever, they take an Uber. Even if it's a short little distance, they live in Park Ridge, they take they'll do an Uber. So I think realistically, there's probably, at least from those parking spots on an extreme basis, at least from my observation, is that you're probably realistically on the probably conservative side, 40% of that is never going to be used by this particular business here. And so therefore, I think I understand your responsibilities, and that's why you're here. I've got that. But I think 6 years, we probably ought to just move forward and approve it, and then get to the second step, which is to approve their liquor license. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Charles. Next is Kathleen, and then Ben Caputo.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kathleen Gabriel. I live at 115 North Pine in Arlington Heights, and my husband and I are 28-year residents, happy residents of Arlington Heights, and we enthusiastically would welcome this addition on Hickory. Hickory has been kind of a sad street for many years, and to see this really wonderful, unique business come up into that, I think is just a big bright spot into our neighborhood. I know that we will enthusiastically support it. I too have children who are in their 20s. I will say as a parent, I am learning more from my kids than I can teach them at this juncture. Something that they've taught me is about Uber. My kids do not drink and drive, and my husband and I do not drink and drive. We will Uber, we walk, we bike, and I believe that will be what will happen at this particular location. We have the teen center that is now, we're happily neighbors now to the makerspace. We were very involved in that process, and I do recall that parking was an issue with that as well. And as people who are going to be affected by that, we were not concerned about the parking there, as we're not going to be concerned about the parking for this particular. In fact, we're close enough, they can park at 115 North Pine and walk there from our house. We're good with that. So thank you very much. We hope it goes through.
Right, and Kathleen, just so you know, that's on the record.
Okay, have you been to my house for the 4th of July before?
Right.
It's pretty famous.
All right, thanks, Kathleen. Next is Ben Caputo, and then Larry Peterson.
Thank you for giving me a chance to speak to you. I was co-signer of a letter that John Clarkson and I had written to all of you. We are not in favor of this. I have lived on Hickory for 12 years, and John has probably lived on the street for 5 or 6. And a lot of the reasons that we stated in our short email, I won't go over all of those reasons again, but contrary to what you've heard tonight, there are a number of occasions where the entire street is loaded with cars. Those generally happen on Friday and Saturday nights when the Knights of Columbus has events, weddings, parties, and during the day when they have bartender school, poker, because they're renting that facility out now for corporate events. So they take up a lot of the space on the street. The automotive guy, repair guy, takes up a lot of space during the day. And the importance of parking can't be understated here. The spaces that are potentially being leased in Rec Park, people are going to fill out the street before they go there. That's just human nature. And those spaces are transitory. The Rec Park, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when it's going to be expanded and renovated. Soon they're going to be tearing down that Shell station, and I think it's house number 21 on Belmont. And once they get into the process of getting the right kind of grant, they're going to be working on the park. Some of the older plans I've seen for the park are fantastic. And if they're able to accomplish half of what they propose, there's going to be a lot more people coming into our neighborhood to use the park. If we approve this without the parking, as many people have suggested, I believe we're setting ourselves up for a problem down the road, because we have a lot of good things to say about the TIF and the forward zoning that can make it a much better community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And next is Larry Peterson.
Hi, thanks. I live at 189 North Hickory, so right along the area where we're talking about. Haven't been here that long, but we moved to Arlington Heights based on the type of community it is. We keep talking about parking. I've been reading, doing some research on what's gone on in the past meetings, and it seems like we keep talking about parking. I'm seeing the exact same conversations today that I've seen in the past meetings. So we either need to come up with new solutions or approve or reject the project. It just seems like we're wasting time continuing to talk about the issue. That said, let me give some thoughts on it. We talk about Douglas. Douglas it's fine. There's some parking there. The path, if we want to use the path, make sure it's lit properly, make sure it's cleared in the winter. Otherwise, it's not viable. So just a suggestion. I think I've seen that in some of the notes. I just want to reiterate that pathway is, I don't think it's very well lit. I haven't been there that often at night, but if it's going to get a lot of use, also wintertime is, of course, an issue. Obviously, as Ben said, parking is going to hit Hickory first. If there's an issue, and there may not be, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen with parking with this type of establishment. I'm excited about it. I can walk down and have a beer. It looks like a great facility. So it's perfect for me from a walking perspective. But if on Friday and Saturday nights I have a guest over and they don't have parking, I'm going to have a problem. And I'm going to probably raise an issue here. But I can't say that that's going to happen or not happen. I don't think any of us can at this point. I know there's certain times where the parking is loaded on that street. It hasn't been right in front of our row homes. I haven't had an issue with parking there yet. So, I don't know. You'll have to approve or not and decide whether there is sufficient parking. I just look at, they also want to be a good neighbor. I want to be a good neighbor. If we take up all the parking, that's not what, on a daily basis, that's probably not a good neighbor behavior. So I think all the commercial facilities on there, and especially if we expand them, and it does create an issue, we should start thinking about parking lot. Potentially I know in our homes, maybe other residences having some parking restrictions for residents, a couple spaces at least, so that if we do have an issue, we have an option. Maybe that's not something we need right now, but going forward, maybe that's an option we could look at. Obviously, we'd have to address that if parking congestion becomes a problem. I don't want to deter this project thinking about what might happen, but if something does happen, I think the board has to consider parking in that area, especially if it continues to grow and expand. So. That's all I had.
All right, thanks, Larry. Those are all the blue cards I have. Are there any other members of the audience who wish to address the board on this item? Seeing none, then I'll come back to the board. We do have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Trustee Scaletta.
Ms. Egan, a quick question. When I Googled, or when I go onto your Itasca website to look at your parking, like you said that you guys give parking instructions, I didn't see any, but I also noticed that you guys are closed.
Yeah, we are. We closed down, and actually we're moving to Roselle because we have no outdoor area in Itasca.
Right.
Just FYI, we have no parking in Roselle, but that became the problem of the village, not me. So they took on that issue for me, and they're working it out for me. There is 0 parking. We'll be around the corner from Pollyanna, so if anyone's familiar with that, we are moving because we need an outdoor area based on what happened with COVID. I feel very strongly that having a tiny indoor area is not going to be the wave of the future based on what could be happening for us. So we never did anything with parking on Itasca because they have a huge lot. The country club has a huge lot. We didn't have to put anything on our website.
So do you have anything else that you can point to that, or you're just saying that when you do build the website?
So
for
it was
this-
put into my one of my rounds of comments that I needed to make sure that I was clear and transparent about parking, especially if I was going to need to use that lot within my website and with signage in the building. So that was part of the rounds, and I had an answer to that in my comments to the staff.
All right, no, I went to the website just to see how you do it.
No, I don't
but
do it in
totally-
Itasca, right, yeah.
Totally understand it, but I'm
Yeah.
just asking the questions.
Yeah.
Thank you. Charles, I don't know whether or not it's in the agreement between the petitioner and the Park District, but I'm sure that, if there is a signed agreement, that we could talk to our partners over at the Park District to make sure that that pathway becomes regularly cleared. I mean, the Park District clears their property for the most part. I just don't know whether they regularly clear that path.
Yeah, I don't know whether they, clear that path of snow in the winter or not. I haven't seen the agreement either, and I understand it hasn't been executed yet.
You'll make a note, though?
We can ask the Park District, sure, yes.
I see you writing it down. All right.
I asked the Park District, just so you know, because it came up in the rounds of comments that the path needed to be clear and lit. From who I spoke to there, they said they didn't know who was responsible for that. Then I went back to the village and asked, and they said they thought it was the Park District. The Park District said they weren't sure. So as far as I know, there is no lighting and no cadence of clearing the path.
The path,
Fortunately
the
for
path
you-
between Douglas and Hickory is on the Park District property.
I was going to say, fortunately for you, the village has a good working relationship with the Park District, so I'm sure that we can find a way to work together on that. Mr. Passman, with the motion that's on the table currently, what are our options if there is a problem in the future? Where we see that there is a problem with, that there's just not enough parking for the petitioner.
Well, first, I want to clarify based on that. Does the motion, I asked Trustee Canty, I know you made the motion, did the motion include just the land use variation or also the 4 other variations that are mentioned as part of the agenda item?
It includes all 4 because that was part of their.
Okay, I want to make sure I understood that. Thank you, I appreciate that clarification. Trustee Scaletta, in the absence of any further conditions, there would not be anything that could be done except as it might relate to condition number 3 that's on your screen right now, which of course, as you know, relates to the use of the outdoor area. But if the board deems it appropriate to add conditions or restrictions related to parking, that's something that the board can certainly discuss and impose as part of any potential approval of this item.
And so the word nuisance, as it is in that sentence, is a pretty broad word.
It is. I would interpret number 3 as considering the possibility that the outdoor area could become a nuisance. Now, I suppose, could it be a nuisance because of the use of the outdoor area and its implications on parking? I think that's a conceivable option or outcome, I should say. But that'd be the extent to which number 3 could be used to address parking issues.
Okay. And I will take the petitioner at her word that, she has worked on this for a long, long time to see it come to reality, and that she will be a good neighbor and do all the things that you've said that you'll do to make sure that not only are you successful, but that you fit into the community like you've always been there, not like a sore thumb. So, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, any other further questions or comments? Trustee Bertucci.
My only other comment, Kathleen, is I would suggest that if people approach you from the southern part of the downtown area, that you suggest to somehow, some way, maybe on your website, to walk Sigwalt to the tunnel versus having them walk on Northwest Highway. It's not always the best road to be walking on. And if they take Sigwald, come through the tunnel, they'll be right at the Kensington Northwest Highway split, and there's good lights there that they can cross over. So that's just one idea. Otherwise, they got to go up to Northwest Highway and come back this way. So just a thought.
I used to drive that tunnel to Thuringer when I was a kid. So I drive it. Now I see it's a walkable tunnel. So I know
Yeah,
what you're
there's
talking
way at the end is the
Yeah.
is the drive one. Yeah, so.
Okay, thank you. We do have a motion and a second to concur with the Plan Commission recommendation. Seeing no other questions or comments, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, congratulations. It's been a long road.
It has.
That is part one, so don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about the sign variation right now. Hopefully it won't be as long. Kathleen, just tell us what you're looking to do with the sign program here.
So, and I did go to the design commission with the sign variation and got approval from them. We just wanted it to be consistent with what we have in Itasca, and then have it similar to what's going on at the Knights, where it's kind of up and illuminated on that circular kind of pole. We will landscape around the bottom of the pole. So I think that's what we were talking about mostly, was that illuminated sign that's on the pole.
Okay. I know the staff was concerned about the sign, the size of the sign that was on the garage door. I don't have any problem with that. I know the design commission didn't have a problem with it, and so I have no problem with the design commission recommendation. So any trustee Scaletta?
I would move approval of the sign commission
Second.
recommendation.
Motion by trustee Scaletta, seconded by trustee Canty. Trustee LaBedz.
I do have a question. I have no problem with this either, but you mentioned that because you keep referring to Itasca Brewing, but
know,
it's
right?
closing, so you're going to move to Roselle. So
We
what is
are.
that logo going to look like?
Actually, we're going to be, we have a DBA of relative, because the brewer and I are aunt and nephew. So we had initially wanted to do relative, but liked the idea of kind of having the town own their brewery, having a brewery in every town called after their town. So we're keeping Arlington Beer Company, but we will be relative in Roselle.
So
We're
will
all
you have
DBAs.
an RBC or something?
It is a tree, and we will be putting all the relatives like Crazy Joe's IPA and everybody else on the tree. So, yeah. So that was initially, but we had liked the idea of having the name Arlington in the beer, in the brewery name, just like we did with Itasca. So now that we're going to Roselle, we're going to just branch out to our relative. We will have our Itasca Brewing Company logo in there and our shirts and everything of that nature. My daughter designed it when she was about 11.
So you have to keep it.
Yep. She's got me. I have to pay her royalties.
Okay. Thank
Trustee
you.
Scaletta.
Any way you can get the ABC so that he's smiling instead of looking sad?
I know, right? The grumpy. We call him the cool guy. Everybody calls him the cool guy.
Right. Trustee Canty.
I just want to say I'm really excited about this signage, and I'm very much looking forward to our ribbon tying, where we will be in front of that sign all together, welcoming you to the neighborhood.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Speaking of that, I know you had the liquor license to go, but when do you expect to be open?
So, I mean, I am not sure how it's going to work with the staff and permits and all that kind of, so I don't have an anticipation. We're ready. We have all of our contractors and everybody ready. We have the engineering and all that kind of stuff done, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the sign variations. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Thank you.
And we have one other item under new business, and that's the tail chasers. Find them. Petitioner is present. Here he is. Okay. This is a request for an amendment to a land use variation ordinance 16-013 and 10-027 to allow the petitioner to assume the underlying land use variation issued to Arlington Doghouse and adjust the conditions of approval. So, sir, if you just introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Good evening. My name is Suri Kuczynski. I represent Tail Chasers. Before we proceed, if it's acceptable to the board, I would like for Tail Chasers to make their presentation first, and I'm going to address the parking issues last.
Okay, sure. And if you folks could just introduce yourselves as well.
My name is Randa Clark, and this is my husband, Matt Clark.
Welcome.
The owners of Tail Chasers Incorporated. Do you have our slides?
So
I think Mr. Perkins probably has them.
This is your presentation, so if you just use the advancer on the right.
Okay.
It's my presentation. If we could
Yeah.
put the Tail Chasers
It's
on.
navy blue.
Yeah, it's all combined. Whatever we got was combined. You have to go towards the end to get to Tail Chasers.
First of
There you
all,
go. There you go.
yeah, there it is. Okay. There we go.
Oh, technology, isn't it?
My finger's a little faster than.
All right, great.
Before we begin, I'd like to thank the trustees and the mayor for giving us a chance to speak tonight. Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Tail Chasers Pet Care is proud to have been a part of Arlington Heights since 2004. We were active members of the Arlington Heights Chamber of Commerce when our company was based in Arlington Heights, and we have rejoined the Commerce to support the new location. We are a current vendor at the Arlington Heights Farmers Market and have participated in many community events as chamber members, including the main event. We continue to support local pet rescue groups and community organizations with their fundraisers and volunteer opportunities, and we foster and train rescue dogs in our home to help them become more adoptable. We've helped hundreds of homeless dogs find loving families, and tomorrow we are donating 1,200 pounds of dog food to an area animal rescue as part of our Pat Gives Back program. Next slide. We own and moderate the Arlington Heights Dog Lovers page to help support community pet owners and provide publicity to help find lost dogs. We've made several appearances at local schools to teach children about careers in the pet industry and how to interact safely with pets, and we have helped countless Girl Scouts earn their Pets Badge. We have a loyal client base and are proud to be recommended by many local veterinarians, rescues, and local pet businesses as reflected in our reviews on Yelp, Google, Facebook, and Angie's List. Honestly, though, we're most proud to have grown our business mainly due to the referrals of our clients to their friends and family. Tail Chasers Arlington Dog Resort is excited to offer dog daycare, training, boarding, spa services, and pet supplies to the families of Arlington Heights. Our revolutionary Dog Day School program incorporates training and enrichment activities in our dog daycare structure to enhance the lives of the dogs in our care and help improve the relationship between the dogs and their owners when they're at home. We've been testing and tweaking the Dog Day School model at Barrington Pet Resort for 2 years and are ready to bring this higher level dog daycare experience to the people of Arlington Heights. Our floor plan includes 4 separate play areas that will each hold 10 dogs. The dogs will be rotated between playtime, enrichment, nap time, and training during their day with a max capacity of 45 dogs during the daycare hours. There will be a receptionist, 2 enrichment counselors, and 1 manager on each of the shifts. Our overnight guests will enjoy our Dog Day School program during the day, as well as dinner time with additional playtime and a potty break before bed. A team member will give our guests time to enjoy breakfast before their playmates arrive for the day. One of our team members will spend the night with the pups staying at Arlington Dog Resort, and our overnight services are limited to 25 dogs. Arlington Dog Resort will also offer grooming services, including bath and nail trims for our Dog Day School guests, as well as dog training services added onto their stay. Our retail area will include fresh, small batch pet food, healthy treats, chews, and natural spa products we make ourselves. Our floor plan places the playtime and training playgroups in the front of the building facing Arlington Heights Road to make sure all noise will be facing away from the residences behind us. Our enrichment and nap time rooms are placed in the middle of the building, so any noise from those 2 rooms will be dampened by the break room, hallway, and the restroom. All walking and potty breaks will happen inside the building in our designated potty station furnished with canine grass and a plumbing system. All player areas will have epoxy flooring for easy sanitation, and we use Wissy Wash to eliminate all odors and sanitize our surfaces. We plan to keep the current operating hours of the previous business of 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. on weekdays to accommodate customers who travel to work by train, and our weekend hours will be 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. to serve dogs who need care while their pet parents enjoy time with family or want to attend church. The safety of our clients and their pets has always been our main focus at Tail Chasers. We've hired a traffic engineer to analyze the parking situation, and we have secured 5 dedicated parking spots for Arlington Dog Resort customers to make drop-off and pickup as smooth and safe as possible. Pet parents will be able to pull into 5 easy-to-access reserved spots and then walk to the back entrance of the building away from traffic from neighboring businesses and Arlington Heights Road. Our software and check-in procedures make drop-off and pickup a breeze. Our canine guests will be walked inside directly to the indoor potty area and then escorted to their assigned group of friends for their day of school. For dog owners who prefer not to have a car filled with dog hair and nose prints on their windows, we do offer a dog bus service for pickup and drop-off, which further reduces the need for additional parking. Our clients love seeing their pup get picked up by the bus to go to school, and we frequently see selfies all over social media with our dog bus. Toberman and Associates jumped into action to complete a traffic study before the previous business closed to evaluate the parking needs of the current business with the same services and capacities as our proposed zoning variants before their closing date. The study showed there was ample parking to accommodate patrons on all days with, I don't think you're on the right slide. Ample parking to accommodate patrons on all days with no negative effects to traffic circulation. There was less than 60% demand for parking during the peak time with a max of 9 out of 15 parking spots in the morning and less than 27% demand with 4 out of 15 spots in the afternoon. During the parking study, almost all customers use the rear entrance, which enables the customers to enter the building without crossing the entrance off of Arlington Heights Road. In our orientation with new customers, we will be explaining the traffic flow in this drawing and instructing our pet parents on the safest way to park and enter the building and parking lot. You can see our 5 reserved spaces in the back of the parking lot there. And they should enter in the back so they're not crossing where it says entrance and exit between the 2 buildings. We have been running our dog day school program at Barrington Pet Resort for 2 years, in addition to a 68-suite boarding operation and full grooming salon with only 4 parking spots, without any backup of customers waiting for a parking spot. Our peak times for drop-off are very similar, 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 6 p.m. for pickup. Our system is fast and efficient because we understand our customers have busy schedules. That's why they're dropping their dogs off for daycare with us. Tail Chasers Pet Care has been providing the highest level of pet care to Arlington Heights since 2004, and we just won 2021 Daily Herald's Reader's Choice Top Pick in 4 categories: dog daycare, pet boarding, dog training, and pet grooming, and we actually just found out that we won the best of the best for dog daycare, which is the service that we will be offering in Arlington Heights. We pride ourselves in providing the highest level of care, extreme staff training, and an outstanding customer experience. Our clients truly are family to us, and we love their pets as if they were our own. We are excited to finally move into a physical location in the Arlington Heights area where Tail Chasers began in 2004 to continue our mission of chasing a better world one tail at a time. And now we have several customers who emailed support and wanted their statements to be read here.
With the trustees' permission, I'd like to read those emails for the clients as well as the customers in the Arlington Heights area that couldn't be here tonight, but we wanted to be represented. I am a resident of Arlington Heights and have been a customer of Tail Chasers for over 2 years. I had both in-home walking and have boarded my dog with Barrington Pet Resort, which is owned by Tail Chasers. Brenda and Matt, the owners, take a very serious approach to safety of their customers, homes, and their pets. Their dog walkers are thoroughly screened in several different ways, and I fully trust the dog walker we had before the pandemic started. My dog always comes back from boarding and Barrington Pet Resort happy and healthy. I'm excited to hear that they might open a location closer to me in Arlington Heights and believe that their care that they show their customers and their pets will be a welcome addition to the community. Please do what is needed to allow them the business and to open a new business in Arlington Heights. Thank you, Laura Coley and Daisy. We fully support Tail Chasers coming to Arlington Heights. We have faithfully We've been faithfully driving out to Barrington's location to board our 2 dogs for 2 years now, and have nothing but positive things to say about the business. They are truly responsible owners and care about their business and clients. As an Arlington Heights resident, I fully believe that Tail Chasers is a welcome addition to this community. Chris Dugan. I'm writing in support of the request for continuation of zoning variance at 213 South Arlington Heights Road. My wife, Eileen, and I have been residents of Arlington Heights for 17 years. We have been customers of your dog care business for 3 years. We were very happy to hear that you plan to open an Arlington Heights facility. Our lab, Rudy, is truly part of our family, and he has always received fantastic care from dog walkers or from your grooming facilities and boarding facilities in Barrington. Arlington Heights will benefit from having a small business open in the village that has such high standards and a strong reputation. This is especially true when so many small businesses have struggled due to the pandemic, leading to higher commercial vacancy rates. This is a win-win for the village, and I look forward to bringing Rudy to your new facility. Please feel free to share my note with the appropriate village officials. Good luck, Mike Glastetter, 912 North Drury Lane, Arlington Heights. I began using Tail Chasers over 10 years ago on the positive recommendation of a neighbor. Finding a trustworthy service with high standards to care for your pets is extremely important for any pet owner. Tail Chasers is that kind of business. Randa and the employees take their time to get to know our pets, and they make us feel like family. The service they provided for us has been outstanding. The warm feelings that come from dealing with a business that personally cares is invigorating. I believe Tail Chasers does more for the community than provide a fantastic service. They also inspire people to help each other. I live in the Greenbrier neighborhood of Arlington Heights, which has a large number of dog owners, and I look forward to recommending Tail Chasers of Arlington Heights to my fellow pet owners. Sincerely, Betsy Stevens. I have just a few more to read if you don't mind. Good evening. We have been a Tail Chasers customer for 6 years. They're a wonderful group. We currently use the Barrington location for a full day and overnight stay for our dogs. Many of us have expanded our families during COVID. Now we face back to school and work daycare challenges for our 2-legged and 4-legged family members. Having a Tail Chasers facility in Arlington Heights would of course be super convenient for our family. And more importantly, I believe the organization would be a positive experience and influence for the families of Arlington Heights. Thank you, and please approve the requested variance for Tail Chasers. Brian Ashcraft, 914 South Dunton. For quite a few years, we had Tail Chasers take care of our dog Angel in our home when we traveled. They were always reliable and sent pictures and daily texts. They will be an asset in our community for those who care about the welfare of their pets. Mary Lou O'Hava, 1614 West Shearer Court, Arlington Heights. Tail Chasers Barrington Pet Resort is the only place we trust when it comes to our dog Stevie. Randa and Matt are responsible business owners who truly care about the safety and well-being of the animals in their care. We've taken our dog to them for training, boarding, and grooming, all of which we have been beyond pleased. The Clarks have always made a point of being a part of the community by educating and helping with pets' needs for grooming, from grooming to food to behaviors to education. Their knowledge of the business as well as the animals is superior, and they are happy to help with any questions or concern I have ever posed. I know that when I leave my dog in the care of Tail Chasers, she is receiving the love and care she is used to when she is home with the family. As a Rolling Meadows resident, I am excited at the prospect that Tail Chasers could expand their business into my neighboring town. I know that Tail Chasers is a perfect fit for the community. Sincerely, Jackie Manola. Dear Arlington Heights Board, while I am not familiar with the details of this particular zoning variance, I can support Tail Chasers as a strong business that would respect the needs of the community. As the former chair of the Lake Barrington Planning Commission and Zoning Board, I can understand the thoughtful consideration that the trustees need to use when weighing any variation brought before the city. I can tell you that I have not seen or heard any concerning situations regarding the Lake Barrington location. I'm also a neighbor and customer of this location, living just north of the facility. And I just wanted to write a word of support for Tail Chasers as a business and I am confident that they would add a valuable service to Arlington Heights while working with the city to maintain a compliant and minimal impact on the surrounding areas. Best regards, J. Nixon. I would be very happy if Tail Chasers would open an Arlington Dog Resort for daycare, day school, boarding, and training. I'm a volunteer at the Buddy Foundation, and many of us are looking for a reputable, safe, well-run place for our beloved animals whom we have adopted. I have known Randa for at least 15 years. She is extremely knowledgeable and cares and loves all the animals. Anything she puts her paws on will be the very best through and through. I'm looking forward to putting my 2 beagles in her care while I have to be gone for part of the day or all day long. Please give Tail Chasers your full consideration to this wonderful addition to Arlington Heights and the surrounding communities. Patty Frazier.
Mr. Clark, could you give us, how many more do you have?
I have just a couple.
How about one more?
Got it.
Pick
I
one.
didn't want to keep it going, but I just wanted these people to be represented.
We get it.
You got it.
Do you have any that say anything bad about you?
Not yet. You guys might, but
That one's really long.
let's see.
I was done with that one. There was like 8 more.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 6 more. So, all right. My name is Kim Harkis, and I'm not only a Tail Chasers employee, but also a resident of Arlington Heights. As a company and as an employee, we have established clients in the Arlington Heights and surrounding areas that would love to have this location open. This new location will offer myself and my family more financial opportunities. Tail Chasers is a company with high standards for all their employees, but they always support us, and it feels more like a family.
Okay, great.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I know you have a parking consultant, right? Does he, how long is your presentation?
About 5 minutes.
All right, great.
I can read more after his if you want.
That's okay, that's okay. You can submit them in the record.
I appreciate the accommodations. Once again, good evening. My name is Sergey Kuczynski, and I represent Top Deck Properties and Tail Chasers. In essence, my presentation focuses on one issue and one issue only, which is a parking concern. Well, actually, a lack of any parking issues. So to give a little bit of a background, back in 2010, there used to be a tenant, Arlington Dock House, that moved into the 2013 South Arlington Heights Road building. That lease was for 5 years. In 2015, that lease was expanded for another 5 years, involving 211 and 213 properties. At that point, land use variance has been granted, the board finding no issues with parking. The building itself is approximately 5,000 square foot building, and only about 3,300 to 3,400 square feet is being occupied, leaving roughly 1,700 to 1,800 feet unoccupied, thus giving enough space for people to park their vehicles. Their lease was for 5 years, ending in April and June of 2021, respectively, for 2011 and 2013 properties. Now, on or about December 12th, and then again in January of 2021, the Arlington Dock House decided not to exercise their right, well, their option to extend the lease for additional 5-year period, essentially giving verbal notification they will be leaving that area, which was followed up by a letter, a formal letter dated February 26, 2021, indicating that the Arlington Dock House will be, in fact, vacating those premises and not exercising their option to extend the lease for additional 5 years. With your permission, I do have a copy of the letter. If I may approach, I would be happy to give a copy of the letter to the board.
Okay.
So essentially, as of February 26, 2021, Top Deck Properties received a formal notice that the Arlington Dock House will be vacating the premises. Subsequently, about a month later, Top Deck Properties were able to secure a new lease from Tail Chasers, a business which is, if not identical, then substantially similar to the Arlington Dock House. And the lease is again for the 60-month period, 5 years, which ends on June 30th of 2026. again, for the same exact premises of 2011 and 2013 South Arlington Heights Road. They'll be occupying both areas, however, the only roughly 3,400 square feet of the 5,000 will be occupied, so they'll be doing identical square footage, identical business as was given to the previous tenant. An issue was raised regarding available parking and the safety of the parking lot in the back. Well, we have at least 2 unofficial parking studies conducted and 1 official parking study conducted. First was done by the Planning Commission when they went out to review, to count the parking spaces and observe what's happening. And the result was relatively simple. There were no concerns, no incidents, no police reports, and plenty of parking spaces were available for the customers to park their vehicles at. Now, the 2009 through 2013 has 10 parking spaces, and since 2009, the Top Deck property that also owns the adjacent building of 215 has secured a cross-access easement for additional 5 parking spaces for the tenant. So we have a total of 15 parking spaces, 10 on the left-hand side behind the building, and 5 to the right-hand side on the Enterprise Rent-A-Car building, which is currently occupying 215 South Arlington Heights Road. And that's the easement which I'm referring to, and again, the photos do show clearly that there is a easy access, entryway, exit, parking lot to the left, parking lot to the right, which is reserved for Enterprise Rent-A-Car business, which has now been given access to secure those parking spaces for tail chasers. Again, the same amount of parking spaces will remain intact, being 10 and 5, so 15 total, for tail chasers, customers to be able to park their vehicles safely. Now, the reason I'm giving a little bit of a history behind what has been happening is because Arlington Doghouse has been in that area, in those buildings, for approximately 10 years. And over the course of 10 years, we were unable to locate any police reports, incidents, accidents, any unsafe actions in that parking lot. So we take the position the parking lot is safe and there's ample parking space for people to park without any incident. The only allegations which arose regarding the parking space or the parking behind the 211, 213 building came on or about June 3rd of 2021. We were unaware of any violations or any unsafe incidents prior to June 3rd, nor is Top Deck or Tail Chasers in possession of any documents indicating that there are any parking issues past June 3rd of 2021. This part has already been addressed, but I wanted to double check and cross-reference certain numbers here. The parking study has been conducted, an official parking study by civil engineers of Norman Toberman and Associates, and they took a look at the parking lot for 7 consecutive days, from June 15th of 2021 until June 21st of 2021. And the study found that there is no issues with the parking lot. There's ample parking space for the tenants. Study further found that the main time when the parking lot is occupied is in the morning between 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m., which again is logical because people go to work, they drop their pets off, and they continue on their way. Then we have 4:45 until 5:45 p.m., which again makes sense. People are coming from work, they're picking up their dogs. At no time was a parking demand higher than 73% of their available slots, nor 47 of their available spots in the back. Meaning, during morning times, between Monday and Friday, we have 7 out of 15 spots which have been occupied, and at night, well, in the evening time, between 11 and 15, leaving plenty of parking space available to tenants to come, to park, to maneuver safely. An unofficial study has been done by the planning committee. They went out, they took a look at it, and they recommended approval of the land use variance because the business is substantially the same, if not identical, to the Arlington Doghouse, including the parking lot and use of the parking lot and those spaces behind those 2 buildings. No negative observations have been made, neither by the Planning Commission nor by the official study done by civil engineers. There have been no concerns and no shortage of parking space. We do expect the parking space actually to improve due to the fact that tail chasers essentially created a better mousetrap, so to speak, by utilizing a bus to bring dogs from point A to point B, meaning more parking spaces will be available because less people will be physically traveling using their vehicles to that location. So even though right now we have ample parking space, we do expect to utilize it in a better way, in a more concise way, in a more clear way. The only concern that was brought up during the previous meeting was a parking issue of June 3rd of 2021. And again, we were unable to locate any records, any complaints for the past 10 years. So at some point, Arlington Doghouse, my apologies, decided to not exercise their option to extend the lease, and tail chasers came in. Then Arlington Doghouse decided to change their mind and stay in that building. However, Top Deck Properties had already a legal agreement in place with tail chasers, and they were unable to accommodate Arlington Doghouse. And that's where the allegations regarding unsafe parking or parking shortages came from. Hence the official parking study, hence the observations, hence the photos which were presented to the board, showing no parking shortages and no concerns, no issues whatsoever. I do have one letter which I would like to give to the board as well, which is written by the manager of, may I approach?
Okay. You're more than 5 minutes. Please.
From the manager of Enterprise, rent a car from across the lot, indicating there's zero shortage, zero issues, zero complaints, everything's intact the way it should be. And based on that, we do ask for your approval to grant the land use variance from a previous tenant to tail chasers for them to continue to thrive in the community.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Perkins.
Super quick, staff had no issues with this. We recommended approval of it. The Plan Commission recommended approval as well. They did ask that the parking study be conducted before coming to the board. We have no knowledge of any complaints other than the June 3rd and at the Plan Commission meeting on parking or any other issues.
Okay,
so we would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Questions or comments from the board? Trustee Canty.
I thank you all for your presentations and sitting with us tonight. I'm going to move that we approve the Planning Commission's recommendations. It sounds to me like this is a pretty clear one. Staff is in agreement. Planning Commission is in agreement. This seems very clear to me.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Canty, seconded by Trustee Scaletta. Further questions or comments from the board? Trustee Scaletta.
Yes, so I was on the board back when we approved the first land use variation, and again in 2016 when the last tenant requested to expand. And even before reading the Plan Commission minutes, I read the public comment that we had received, and I'm like, this doesn't sound right, something's not right, it just doesn't feel right. Because you wanted to be there so bad, you wanted to expand, you expanded, and now all of a sudden there's a problem. So I'm definitely want to see tail chasers move in. I think this makes a lot of sense for so many reasons. Aside from the fact that people know that that's where they want to take their dogs when they're out of town, we could have a lot of other tenants in those spaces that would have a lot more vehicular traffic coming in and out and taking up more parking spaces. I think this is a great use, and happy to second the motion.
Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you. I actually just had a quick question for the petitioners, and that is, the tail chasers out of Barrington, your website talks about dog walking and that sort of thing, but you won't be doing that at this location. This is solely for daytime boarding or overnight boarding, is that correct?
We've actually been doing dog walking in Arlington Heights since 2004, but we do it, all of the dog walking is done in-home.
Oh, okay, so it's not that they're there from the location where you're hoping to be.
No.
You go to the client's home,
right?
Take the dog out, take him around, do whatever. you do
Exactly.
with dogs.
Yeah, we go in, we take the dog out of the home, we take them around the block, and then we bring them back and put them back in their home.
Okay,
That's
all
how
right.
we began our business.
Yeah, okay, I get it. All right, thank you. That's all I wanted to clarify. Thanks.
Anything else from the board? Seeing none, we do have one blue card to speak on this item. That's Debbie Sullivan. Debbie, are you still here? Yep. Welcome, Debbie.
I just wanted to speak on favor of tail chasers moving in. People and communities need a solid place with positive training for animals, and as the world keeps moving forward, people are calling themselves trainers, and dogs are really bearing the brunt of the bad side of it. Using positive training and giving the attention and the quality that pet owners like myself really think they're getting when they hand over an animal. It's really important, and they have the reputation. I've never met them before tonight. I run a rescue, and I've been stalking them. We get emails and stuff for recommendations for trainers and boarding, and I don't give those recommendations lightly. So, you know, having people want their dogs to be better, more socialized, more educated, better behaved. Any community would be great with a company like Tail Chasers.
Great. Thanks, Debbie. I have no other blue cards, so we'll go back to the board. Any further comments? We have a motion and a second. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Well, congratulations, Tail Chasers, not just on this approval, but on your Reader's Choice Award as well. So congratulations, and good luck to you. We have no other new business, so we'll move on then to the remaining item, which is the report of the village manager. That's the 2021 annual action plan, including the CDBG budget. I know we still have a few people in the audience that are concerned about this item. We apologize for the lateness of the hour. We had a number of other things to consider tonight. So we will then move on to this. And Charles, what do we need to do at this point? Just board discussion?
Board discussion on the annual action plan, which is the large document, or the budget that's recommended for the next fiscal year that starts October 1st, which I put up on the screen. And Nora and I are happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Seeing none. Then we do have had the necessary public hearings. And so we are at a point where we could entertain a motion to adopt the, where's my?
Your left.
Adopt the 2021 annual action plan, including the CDBG budget.
Here.
Trustee Scaletta.
I would move that the village board adopt the 2021 annual action plan, including the CDBG budget.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Scaletta, seconded by Trustee Canty. Further discussion from the board or for the audience? Seeing none. This is a voice vote?
This should be by ordinance, Mayor. I'm sorry, this should be by roll call, excuse me.
Roll call, okay. Roll call?
Trustee Scaletta?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Grasse?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Bertucci?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. Again, thank you all for sticking with us this evening to the late hour. And so congratulations to those who receive funding. I know you do a great job with it. You all do a great job, whether you got funding or not. So we have no other, well, let me ask you, Ms. Nicolle, any other business from the village manager?
Nothing for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, anything from the board? Under petitions and communications, seeing none, then I would entertain a motion to
Move to adjourn.
Second.
by Trustee Scaletta, second by Trustee Schwingbeck, I think. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all for joining us this evening.